At Fox News Alert, South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster says he wants to bring some normalcy back to his residents by reopening public beaches and some retail stores as early as today.
The latest numbers show that Palmetto State's having 4,400 cases of COVID-19 with 124 deaths. And joining us live with the long-term plan for the state
is South Carolina Congressman Ralph Norman. Sir, thanks so much for coming on this morning. We do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Of course, yeah. And let's take a look just at the breakdown here. It's a list. It's a long list. But the businesses that are going to be open and which ones are remaining closed, we can pull it up here. Tell us exactly what the plan is, sir.
Well, I mean, it starts with to open up the beaches, and we're a resort state. Myrtle Beach, Charleston. Charleston's the #1 resort in the world now. And by opening those up, it begins to get people traveling. As you know, we're home to BMW, Boeing, Continental Tire, and it's ground to a halt. And as he understands, we can't continue to be a ghost town. And as Jillian, you mentioned about the numbers, luckily we're not like a New York or like other parts of the country that are devastated by it. We've managed it, and I think that'll continue as he gradually opens up the retail in South Carolina.
Yeah, let's take a look at the projections here showing that South Carolina may have already peaked. And you can see there on that graph, it appears to have peaked maybe a little beginning of April. Again, that's just a projection. But I'm curious if you have enough tests and everything you need to, ensure your residents in South Carolina that you can reopen.
Absolutely. You know, the physicians that we talk to are gradually getting the test equipment. It's, you never quite have enough, but Americans now are taking precautions on their own. They're using common sense. The distancing is working. Everybody wants the Abbott test so you immediately know whether you're likely to get the disease. But I think overall we cannot continue to shut everything down. And at some point the cure is going to be worse than the disease, and I think Americans are finding that out.
Yeah. Well, there are two kind of warring factions here, right? There's people that really want to get things reopened and are really anxious about that. And then there's the other side, people that are really scared of this virus still. Let's listen to a hairstylist from your state who says she's happy that her salon is not going to be open.
I'm glad that salons are staying closed because that you are in close contact with those people. So having everyone in there at once with one person that still is not giving enough space between people and even between stylist and client, that's not enough space there to be safe.
So talk about how hard it is for your governor to kind of walk this line of kind of trying to make everybody happy in this moment.
Well, it's tough everywhere. I mean, you're seeing the protests increasing. People are nervous. You talk to that hairdresser who's not getting a paycheck. Talk to that single mom who's dependent on tips from the restaurant that's been closed now for 3 weeks, and so it's gradually people are very anxious. But on the good side, I think they're anxious to take the precautions needed. Nobody wants to get this virus, Rob.
No.
And it's common sense that we're going to have to practice. This is the new normal for America, and I think we realize that. And self-responsibility. Their risk getting out of bed every morning. But we cannot continue to not have paychecks. We got 10% of the workforce in South Carolina that's drawing unemployment. And so that's why I think he's gradually doing it, and he's putting the responsibility back on the individual, which is where it ultimately is anyway.
All right, Congressman Norman, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.